Fringe theory is based around the genre and trope of various horror and thriller media. Please view the episode description for a full list of content warnings. Thank you. Cold open as pre-credits fade in and out at the bottom of the screen. The scene is a funeral in a large church. There is a young mid-30s man speaking over a casket. When you're a TV personality, everyone always thinks you're untouchable. But the truth is, they're as ephemeral as the rest of the people in the world. They come and go, and while they're certainly bright, shining stars, even the sun dies someday. When he was hosting America's favorite Show Me the Money, he always had the brightest smile on his face, like this is what he was born to do. The way he'd build rapport with the contestants, the way he'd build the audience's excitement, it was something I'd never seen before, not since, well... And I'm sure I can speak for many of us when I say that, while we all knew this day was coming eventually, we all never thought we'd see the day. We all thought that we could save our goodbyes for tomorrow. And, well, I guess eventually the check bounced. He never lived to the golden senior ages of his contemporaries, and we can all agree he was taken too soon from us. From the bottom of my heart and the hearts of the crew, we want to say we're sorry for not saying goodbye. And maybe wherever he's hearing this, maybe he'll find it in his heart to forgive us. And if God himself is listening, I ask him on a bended knee to let him into the Golden City. May Mac Fillins rest ever in peace. Hello, and welcome to the Bones and Story podcast. My name is Nick, I also go by Flux, and I am the keeper for this. Today we are going to be continuing our playthrough of Monster of the Week by Michael Sands, and joining me today is Valentine.
Hi, I'm Valentine. I am eating a bag of handicap hot fries.
Please don't eat that into your microphone.
Crunching.
I'm gonna have to edit that out later. It's just you here, though. At least right now. This episode is not going to be a hunt, but it's sort of a transitionary episode. Downtime, if you want to use that terminology. We're recording these all separate, so it's just Valentine right now.
Just me.
So, at the end of our last hunt, something happened. Do you want to say what it is?
I did get eaten by that leech, alright.
No. I'm talking about the end of the hunt.
Oh, I met somebody.
Warmer.
I ate somebody.
There you go. Well, you had one bite of Midas, and Midas is in the hospital now, and then you got sent away.
Well, that's what happens when you eat one of your coworkers.
And I think the point we made was that you're not satiated, so...
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to deal with that right now. We talked off mic. You said I asked you where you wanted to be zooped to, where you wanted to be grounded to. Do you remember what you said? It was the docks, right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, so let's just frame this scene right here. It's at about 11 at night. The docks are quiet. Most people have gone home for the night. And a little flash of light between some, crates, and there's Hallow, still ravenously hungry. What do you do?
Well, she is covered in blood. Midas Gold's blood.
Yep, sure is.
Expensive blood on her right now. Anyways, really, she's not thinking, I don't think. I think No, she's having, like, the thoughts that are coherent words in her head. All she can think is that she's hungry, she's hungry, she's hungry, and she needs food now.
I think there's still a couple stragglers at the docks. I think there's at least like one sort of like fisherman who's coming in a bit too late. You know, maybe his wife's not going to be too happy about that. But I think he has bigger things to deal with right now.
I can give him something bigger to deal with.
I'm teeing it up for you.
I don't think Hallow wastes much time. She already has a taste for flesh. She tried to eat Midas. She is starving. Nothing on her, the same way that one would be if they hadn't eaten for a week or so, which she hasn't. Not what she's supposed to be eating, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
How far away is he?
He doesn't notice you. He's probably about 10, 15 meters away.
Okay.
Actually, wait, no, you're American. That'd be like, what, 30 feet?
Okay. So kind of far.
Not kind of, but not really that much.
Okay.
Meters are close to yards, so it'd be about like 10 yards, let's say.
So 30 feet.
Yes. Yes, I suppose so, huh?
Which is what you said.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I hate the Imperial measurement system. Go to hell.
Anyways, yeah. Approximately how fast do you think a starving cursed fae could lunge at this man 30 feet away from her?
It's your character, you tell me.
Trying to think of things that are fast.
I will say that there's going to be a role here involved. It's not going to be if you can kill him. You'll be able to kill and feast on him. That is just going to happen. I have something else prepared for you.
Okay, yeah, I want him in my eating.
Yeah, so I think he's just kind of like bringing his like tackle, some of the catch. He dumps it into a freezer, maybe in some shack, and he's walking by you. And what does this look like?
Where on the docks would you say Hallow is? Like, is she in like an alleyway?
I'd say between like you're kind of like hiding between some crates.
Okay.
Is what like I imagine it seem to be like.
Okay. It's kind of like a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like a jump scare in a film where this guy is having a normal time of it walking by, and then suddenly something with massive fucking fangs and teeth is lunging at him. I don't think he gets a moment to react.
In a sense, if you weren't one of the protagonists of this Monster of the Week series, this might be like the cold open that you'd see at the start of an episode.
Yes.
And I think he hardly gets time to even let a scream out.
I rip his jugular out immediately.
Dear Hallow, it's come to this again, as it always does. An encroaching hunger, a cold and vicious impulse, a mortifying instinct. And so, in the wake of another death, another victim of the horrific hunger, you need to handle the consequences. Roll plus sharp. On a 10 plus, you're able to hide the body neatly. If it's ever found, it will be past the scope of this campaign. On a 7 to 9, pick one. Someone sees you do it, and you'll have to kill the witnesses as well to be safe. You leave behind evidence. You'll be safe for now, but someone will be on your trail. Or, the victim had a deep connection to an allied NPC who will be affected by their death. On a 6 minus, someone will witness you and get away, and bad gas spreads fast in a small town. Lots of love, your keeper.
Oh god, I'm fucked. Could you send that in our DMs, please, Angel?
I will.
Thank you.
Jeez, pulling out the pet names for me. On recording, too. Jeez.
Yeah, if I rolled that, can I roll again, Sugar Plum Sweetheart?
No.
No.
Just roll plus sharp.
Okay.
And this
All
is
right.
plus sharp because it's like, you have to actually think, how are you going to hide this body?
Yeah, my plus sharp is 0, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Alright. Praying to God, please, don't let me fuck this up. Okay.
That's an 8.
Okay.
That's a mixed success. So here's the deal, right? You have the choice of one of these 3 options. Either there's going to be witnesses, so more than one person's going to disappear at once.
Okay.
Either you'll leave behind evidence of you being here, and someone will be on your trail, and that'll be a future threat for me. Or this person that you've killed is going to be connected to an NPC, an allied NPC, and they're going to be very affected by their death. And I'm just saying, if they find out that you're the one who killed them, yeah. I have a couple things in mind of who it might be, but I haven't decided for sure yet.
Okay.
Because, you might not pick that option.
Yeah. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Can I please have your opinion? This is something I normally ask the Peanut Gallery about. They are not present.
Well, this is a mixed success, so you're going to get away with this, at least for now.
Okay.
In maybe a session or 2, if you picked leaving behind evidence, you might be confronted by someone who's been putting together the pieces.
Okay.
If there were witnesses, there might be 2 or 3 witnesses, you'll definitely be able to kill and hide all of them because you still succeeded on this roll. This was still a success. Multiple people disappearing at once is going to turn some heads.
It's also going to be a really bad thing for me.
And if you choose that this person ended up being connected to an NPC, well, it'll be fine as long as they never figure it out,
I
But,
guess.
if they do manage to figure it out, it might be very bad for you. So the choice is yours.
Okay. I hate decisions. I think I'd say leave behind evidence makes the most sense in this scenario. Hallow isn't thinking straight.
Okay, and what evidence do you think is left behind by you?
I think she does manage to get rid of the body. I don't know how necessarily, but she has eaten a lot of it. She.
It's not going to be found.
No.
This is going to be a missing persons case. So.
I know. I'm just saying. She's fucking tearing into his lungs.
Ugh.
I think would leaving behind the fabric of his clothes work?
I don't think that's tied to you, is the thing.
Oh, you need it to be tied to me specifically.
Because that's going to be the first step of the trail of the investigation, right?
I suppose.
I have an idea that I want to pitch for you if you don't have any yourself. What if you accidentally, as you're gnashing at this person, what if you, accidentally, break a tooth? And because you're a fey creature, it's going to grow back within, it'll probably grow back overnight. But that's still a long, weird, monstrous tooth that's going to be, left behind on the docks.
This is a good idea.
Okay, so that's what we want to go with?
Yeah.
Okay. This person, rest in peace. What was his name?
Godspeed, fish boy.
I'm going to say that his name, if you even care, was Tanner Taciturn.
Very sad for Tanner.
Well, now he's dead.
Very sad for Mrs. Taciturn.
Yeah. Okay, so I have to confess to you something now. I may have lied to you earlier, and there is actually a witness to your crime.
Oh, I see.
No. Let me cook, let me finish.
Okay.
As you're, finishing cleaning up, you hear the sound of, slow golf clapping. And, you look over, neck snapping to the sound, and there leaning against a shack, very cool and unbothered looking, is Jean.
Hello, Jean.
The fey boy that you met at the end of the last hunt. And he says, My, I can't say I've ever seen anything quite like that.
Hello.
What do you do?
She stares at him with the widest of eyes.
Now. I'm not going to tell us all. He begins walking towards you, just saying, I knew that we were a kindred fae, but to think that you would be capable of this, I must say, it's quite amazing.
I she's like, there's still blood dripping
Mhm.
down from her mouth. She is covered in viscera.
Easy now, easy now. I've no quarrel with you. I'm not going to hurt you, and, well, you wouldn't be finding much in terms of blood and organs if you bit me open, so we're allies, is what I'm trying to say.
I I she's looking down at her hands. She's starting to come to now that she's gotten her fill, so to say. I, no, I'm not.
Easy now, easy now. I know what it's like. I need to feed, too. Just like you. Though I don't feed on blood and organs, no. I feed on hearts in a bit of a more romantical sense, if that makes sense.
Hallow looks at him like he's speaking gibberish. She doesn't understand.
Well, do you know much about, like, different fae? You know, the types of fae? Because you might actually
Vaguely.
know what he is. Well, do you think Hallow would know?
Ooh. I think Hallow would know if he gave her like a name of the type that he is.
I think he says, well, in lieu of giving you my real name, of which I would never dare do, I mean, my parents gave it to me to trust, right? So here you may call me Jean Connernock. And, he is a type of unseelie fae called a Jeancanok. And, now, here's the thing, right? In actual mythology, Jeancanoks are, like, there's a lot of, like, really weird stuff involving consent and lack thereof. The main idea is that they suit with women and then they, leave them and then they die of heartbreak.
Very sad. This is always happening to me.
And in the traditional myth of the Jeancanok, this is something that they do by touch. But I'm a little skeeved out about that. So in our version of this mythology, Jean here has to do the work himself. He doesn't get a free pass with like magic hands. He's
No,
still
he's got to be good at it.
yeah, he still courts people and then leaves them and then they die of heartbreak. It's just they enter into that relationship of their own volition.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
And I think he says, "Do you need help cleaning up? He pulls out like a small handkerchief. It's
Yeah,
not
okay.
much, but well, here you go."
Hell's voice is like strained. But she, at the very least, takes the handkerchief to wipe the blood off, like away from her mouth, which is by now like beginning to close. If the viewers remember, whenever Hallow feeds, her mouth stretches all the way to her ears and opens like a snake's jaw,
Yeah, like a snake. Yeah.
filled with teeth and fangs and molars. So, she can eat properly.
I think Jean here says, No, but honestly, are you all right?"
I haven't. I try not to.
"Oh, darling, 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 you really must not fight it so much. You're only going to stress yourself out. Come this way, come on. I want to bring you to my home."
I. You're.
And he begins walking away, leading you seemingly like onto a kind of rocky beach and under the docks.
Mm-hmm.
And under the docks is is what used to be just like kind of almost like a cave. You imagine children probably set up here back then, but currently he has made a bit of a home base for himself. And this is you actually marked your 5th XP last time.
I did.
And what was the advancement that you're taking?
I took Gain a Haven.
Gain a haven from the expert playbook, and this is that haven. We talked about this off mic, it has a mystical library and a magical laboratory.
Yay!
And he says, "You and I, this feeding. We're kindred spirits. I know exactly everything that you've been through. So I would like to help you. Here, you can use this anytime you need, even when I'm out. And truth be told, I'm not much for staying inside and reading a good book. I like to hit the streets, so 25 million times out of 149,999, I'll be out.
Do you study? Do you know about? Her hand is shaking a little bit, but she points towards herself. She points towards her mouth.
I think he kind of just steps forward and kind of like cradles your chin in his hand. You know, that little movement?
God.
And he just says, well, it's strange. You're clearly not unseelie as I am, but this mouth here, he gives 2 light slaps to your cheek. Very clearly unseelie, so yes. It's a curse, is it not?
We think so.
Ah, well, I like to keep my head down when it comes to that kind of thing. I'm not much of a curse person myself. I have no idea where I'm going with his character voice. He's like British, Irish, Scottish. He goes between all of them, and you're just gonna have to deal with that.
Help.
Vaguely European accent.
He's whichever one is sexier in the moment.
Exactly. And he says, so unfortunately I have no answers for you there, but...
Okay.
Feel free to see what you can find in my little library. I know it's not big, but...
No, thank you. I don't know what to say.
You don't have to say anything, darling. It's been quite a long time being able to, being able to talk with someone as pretty as you are without wondering if they're going to be your next meal. So really, I'm quite pleased with this arrangement too. Just to be clear, just ground rules, right?
Ground rules.
Just to be clear, ground rules. That little clown that runs with you is off limits, I imagine, right? You don't want anything happening to her?
I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing.
No, it's fine.
Girlie really said, I can't eat your friend, right?
You know.
You gotta cover your bases.
He's being genuine about this.
Yeah. Hallow takes a minute to, like, process the sentence, and she shakes her head. Yes, please do not touch, she struggles on the word for a second. My friends.
Fair is fair, I won't lay a finger on them. Though, you know that you might have to feed on them sometime, right? If worse comes to worse, I wouldn't want to see you starving, darling.
He can see her visibly twitch at that sentence.
He genuinely looks worried for you. And I think he continues, he just goes, you seemed quite out of it even back at the docks. You know that you can be so much more. You are mighty. You are powerful. If you wanted, this whole town could be yours. And I'm just wondering why you hold yourself back.
Hello looks at him with... It's a strange thing being told that you're pretty after, years of considering yourself a monster, perhaps barely looking at your reflection. It's a strange thing, so she gets tongue-tied, but I don't want to hurt anybody. She pulls on her hair.
Do you hold the birds that feast on the worms or the wolves that feed on the deer to the same standard?
It's not the same.
Isn't it? Darling, this isn't just something cosmetic. This is your way of life. You are the carnivore. You are the apex predator of this town.
I'm not supposed to be this. Her hands shake. She puts her hands on her cheeks. It's not right. All I can do is try not to let it hurt people I care about.
That's probably the best way to go about it.
What do you mean?
Well, if you're going to kill, at least make sure it's no one that you care about. That's my style too. I much prefer little 5-day flings to long courting fiascos. Ugh. Well, I'm sorry. I shouldn't be judging on your life. I'll drop the subject here. I think that you're beautiful, and I would want nothing more to just see you in your fullest potential. But final thing I'll say on the matter, I'm dropping it now. Pew! There, it's dropped.
She lets sort of an incredulous little laugh.
You look still out of it. I'll go get you some water. You can rest up on the cot. I'm not using it.
Oh, thank you.
I don't think I got your name, though, actually.
I didn't give it.
Well, what should I refer to you as, then?
You can call me Hallow. Everyone else does.
Hallow, is it? Did you pick it out yourself?
At some point.
I'll tell you what, you're a lot more creative than me.
She tilts her head.
You know that he's a Yonkanak, and he named himself...
A Jean-Canuck.
Oh, yeah. And he named himself Jean Connornock.
Yeah, real creative, buddy.
Hey, the ladies and the men, too. He's bisexual.
Love wins. Love loses, actually.
They love the name Jean.
I love the name Jean.
Perry.
Yeah.
Last time the main street has kind of gotten completely fucked up by Midas's funny little roll.
And well, come on, but don't give Midas all the credit. I did then teleport a giant worm onto the general store.
Yeah, that was kind of like the catalyst for everything. You did destroy the coal operatives. What has Friendly Neighbor been kind of doing the past couple days?
Well, right now, one friend is missing. One friend is dealing with his grievous bodily injuries. And I don't really know what Millie's been doing, so Neighbor's just kind of been wandering the town, seeing how idyllic it feels, getting a vibe of the place.
Yeah, idyllic. Well, I can tell you right now that Main Street is not doing pretty well.
Well,
because like when all of the booths sort of started crashing into places, it kind of like went through drywall as well. The coal operatives, I think, got the brunt of all of the destruction, but everything in town's kind of like, windows are broken, stuff like that.
And it turns out all the buildings were made out of 100% asbestos.
I don't think that's true. But, well, hope upon hope, there is hope on the horizon. Because as you're kind of walking through Main Street, you see a number of construction workers.
A bunch of burly men in hard hats, yes, of course.
Yes, your favorite.
And some butches, too. Don't worry.
Okay, there can be butches, too. Don't worry. Equal opportunity employer.
Lying in a ditch. Butches, too?
Yes, man. Butches, too. What the fuck are we doing?
Anyways, Walmart or whatever is moving in.
No, kind of. Specifically, as you're kind of walking through, you notice amongst all of these workers a tall man, a Stepford Smiler, who looks at you, nice, coiffed brown hair, in a very well done suit. This is what Midas could look like if Midas put effort into his appearance.
Ooh.
And he turns to you and is like, "Oh, well, hello there. Can I help you with something?"
Me? Oh, I'm just admiring the constructions.
"Yes, it is quite nice, isn't it?"
Well, it was nicer. Now it's not so much nice. But it will get nice again.
"Oh, yes, it will be quite nice, and it will be bigger, and better, and more boisterous than ever before. Sorry I didn't introduce myself." He holds out a hand to you.
Oh, take that hand with a nice fatherly shake.
As you touch this man's hand, you start to feel a bit of a tingle. This man is a demon.
Oh.
Presumably, this is one of the so-and-so contacts that the lady of the house was talking about last time.
Well, just because I'm an angel doesn't mean I automatically hate demons. That's stereotyping.
I like imagining that angels and demons are just, like, two completely separate phenomena. Like, they're not entirely, like, ontologically opposites of one another. It's just, oh yeah, there's, like, collective unconsciousness angels, and there's also demons in the world. No relation.
No relation. Don't know where you got that whole rivalry thing from. The Bible? Weird.
Oh no, you have a rival. It's actually really funny. We may have seen the rival before on screen multiple times, but you've never been in the same scene as them.
Oops.
Hey, I've been trying, okay? I've been trying to get your adversary, a thing to be happening, but sometimes it's just the way the cards fall.
Well, for now, this demon probably knows that I'm an angel too.
Oh, for sure. Honestly, if he's a contact of the lady of the house, he probably already knows that your name is Friendly Neighbor.
Then I don't see any reason to introduce myself, except for that, of course, I'm a friendly neighbor.
What do you say to him?
Pleasure to meet you, your friendly neighbor.
Of course. My name is Lamington Bithersby. I am in charge of the reconstruction of Main Street project going on here.
Flux?
Yeah.
Do you want to go ahead and spell that name?
Lamington Bithersby. Lamington space Byther. Fuck. Lamington Bithersby. SBYGHE.
Hold on, where are you going? It's just a GHE at the end?
It's silent. His name is Lamington Bithersby.
Are you proud of this name?
Not really, to be honest.
Well,
It kind of came to me like a vision, like I'm some god's, like, poor prophet. I also hate that his name's Lamington Bithersby, but I'm not gonna tell someone that they should be named something else, What if he chose it himself?
Astral projected into your mind? A real demonic figure?
Yes, the real demonic figure actually sent it into my mind. Fuck, we're getting off track.
Right, of course.
So he explains to you that he is the... Foreman isn't the right word, more like the... what's the word I'm looking for? Let's go with overseer. He's overseeing the rebuilding of Main Street, and one of the main parts of this building is replacing the coal operatives with the big box store. In fact, actually, I think a couple stores also caught in the crossfire are like their space, their land is getting bought up, because, this isn't just some small box store.
It's the big box store.
It's the big box store.
Can we just call it the big box store?
That's what I was kind of going with.
Or maybe a Kroger's.
Did you hear that they're tearing down Marvin's Marvelous Mechanical Museum to put in another fucking Meyer?
It's fucking bullshit.
Oh, totally.
No, well, Flux, we can't go on another tangent here.
Okay. I think what happens here is you also begin seeing almost like a protest of sorts, but it's not as organized. But, there's a number of people from around the town who are picketing. I guess that makes it a protest, huh?
Yeah.
Well, they're picketing and yelling at the workers as, like, they're taking away, like, broken shelvings or, like, sweeping up broken glass and starting to bring in more modernized corporate shelving units. I don't know, man.
Very generic looking, bland, basic, boo.
Yeah, I wanted to start describing it, but then I was like, no. How would I describe this? It's a shelf.
It's a shelf, but it's not a good shelf. It's just a regular shelf. It's not a kitschy wooden shelf. It's just it's one of those stupid, like, thin metal shelves where you can slot sections off, move them.
Yeah, that's what you do with shelves. Anyways, now that we're done tangent number 3, what do you do as this protest seems to be sort of closing in on your area?
Well,
roles aren't going to be... There is a role here. I know what the role is going to be, but, like, in terms of generally doing stuff, you don't need to roll. We're just, like, free play right now.
Well, I'm just looking at Lamsley or Lambsby or whatever it was.
His Lamington Bithersby.
Lamington. I'm calling him Lamb.
Okay.
I'm looking at Lamb. I'm looking to the crowd and offering just the friendliest, nicest smile. Some people just don't see the beauty of it.
Yes, quite. Don't worry, we have plenty of privately owned security that if they really do truly cause a fuss, we can, calm them down a little bit, kind of temper the temper tantrums.
Oh, it wouldn't be very neighborly to cause a fuss.
Of course not. And, I think, as you're talking to him, he turns away and is just like, pardon me a moment, and turns away from you. And who he's actually turning to are the injured but still walking around Cole and Clara of the former Cole operatives. You get the impression from their conversation that they are doing the final pieces of paperwork to basically sell the store and the land that's on it.
Well, they look fine, right?
One of them is... There's definitely a broken arm or leg here or there.
Well, at least they're getting money for their broken shop, right?
Oh, yes. Considering that their options were very few in this circumstance, they were getting a deal that Lamington considers very generous given the circumstances.
And that's not predatory at all.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, totally not. In fact... As you're watching this happen, I have something prepared here for you.
Oh, boy.
You see these neighbors of yours, and for a moment, you kind of have this realization that they're getting a raw deal. They're your neighbors, and this guy is some, like, big city yuppie. And so, dear friendly neighbor... As you step amidst the ruins and reconstruction of Main Street, you're surrounded at all sides by what every suburban father hates the most, a crisis of moral faith. As you wrap your pseudo-real brain around the situation, roll 2d6 plus cool. On a 10 plus, you keep your cool. You may ask Lamington one question, about anything, and he will answer it honestly and truthfully. On a 7 to 9, choose one. Either you say something thoughtless, lowering your reputation with the citizens of the town, or your faith wavers. The keeper holds 1. They may use this hold at any time to compel you to action. On a miss, you suddenly have a wave of genuine human guilt. The keeper will hold 2 to compel you to action as above. Lots of love, your keeper.
That was my cool, right?
Yep.
11.
Okay, so you managed to keep your cool...
Yay!
Screwing over your fellow neighbor, you simply do not see it. How do you, as friendly neighbor, god of the suburbs, rationalize this?
Well, I'm not god of the suburbs. I'm just one of her disciples.
Okay, right. Well, disciple of the suburbs, how do you rationalize this in your head?
Well, it's quite simple. They can retire early. That's what everyone would love to be able to do.
Oh, for sure. Well, you've been around for quite a while. That amount of money, surely that's enough to retire, right?
Yeah, I understand monetary value and don't have any sort of skewed view on that either.
I mean, last you checked, it's been a while, but that's a pretty significant amount of money, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, what? Why would the price of things go up?
Of course. So, you keep your cool. You're able to ask Lamington one question, and this doesn't have to be about the current situation. This can be about literally anything about the town. He is a demon. He seems like he would be quite knowledgeable. And I will answer truthfully and honestly. I don't think you understand how, like, genuinely powerful this is. Like, it could be anything. And obviously, like, I have veto power, but, like, hit me with your best shot.
I have a curious question.
Oh, right, friendly neighbor. What is it?
Something has been on my mind. How did a small town, relatively, preacher, summon an angel?
Let me see here. Well, if I recall correctly with my, little coffees with the lady of the house, I'm sure you understand I love to visit the perfect suburbia.
Of course, who would not?
40 years ago, that preacher, Mr. Zacharias Price, was it?
Yes, correct.
Did a truly, truly heinous deed.
I'm just sort of listening along, nodding.
And he has carried the weight of that action for, well, quite a while now. And so, just like how you are a manifestation of the suburbs, that angel, in honesty, is a, manifestation of Protestant guilt?
Yeah, that appears to check out. Many guilty people think upon angels and upon demons.
As for why this town was losing Sundays, it doesn't appear to be the angel's fault. I don't think that's within a mere manifestation of guilt's power. I'm not entirely certain at this moment what Zacharias Price did, but whatever he did 40 years ago likely granted him quite a lot of power. But he is currently, at least I presume, still in jail, so it's whatever he was doing, I doubt he can continue to do it. Though I would worry if he ever got released.
He may hold a grudge, in fact.
I'm not sure if grudges are in his nature. More like a call to action. Feelings of being a pawn to a higher being. Not someone with actual thoughts, but merely a tool. Sorry, not to imply you're quite the same. It's just some
Implication
food
going
for thought.
right over the head.
Exactly. It's just some food for thought.
I have thought about seeing if this town has a second preacher under their belt.
It's quite small. I believe someone from the parish stepped up, but, well, let's just be glad that they don't summon a figure of immense guilt every Sunday, nor can they, erase the memories thereof.
Of course, that is not usual church-going, though.
I tell you what, though, I am curious what happened 40 years ago. If I recall correctly, that was also about the same time that the wine rain started, did it not?
A lot of things in this town link together.
Well, I suppose it's not my place to go digging. In fact, the only digging I need to do is the breaking of new ground on this beautiful box store.
Yes. Dad's laugh.
Lamington also does a very stilted, very awkward, forced dad laugh.
Two normal, quote, unquote, men.
What are you doing about the encroaching protests, though? They're yelling some very charged language. Definitely not PG-13.
Well, as a friendly neighbor should, it would be wrong for me to at least not take upon the words of what they were saying to my own ears.
A lot of it is protesting against the corporatization of their town. You know, they should be rebuilding the coal operatives. They shouldn't be just, like, being forced to sell it off. They are wholly rejecting the corporatization of their town.
Just a simple shake of my head. I don't see it as a corporatization of the town. I see it as a nice new unification.
I think they start yelling at you specifically. One of them is like, "What would you know about unity, corpo scum?" That's coming from one of the teenagers.
Oh, well, teenagers are just always so disrespectful. It is just part of what a teenager is.
In fact, you know what would be interesting?
Oh?
This is one of the same teenagers that you saved from the Night of Michael.
Oh, so I recognize this teenager.
I thought you were cool!
I'm just a simple, friendly man. A father. I am not cool.
Yeah, I think these teenagers just kind of scour their faces and begin continuing protesting. You get the feeling that you've lost a sense of respect and reputation with at least this side of the community.
It's really unfortunate, but as a father figure, I understand that teenagers just won't respect me.
Yeah, they'll learn eventually, right?
Of course,
one
day they
what's
will
the old
grow
adage?
up.
You get more conservative when you get older. Definitely not the fact that a lot of conservative policies cause the leftists to die.
Don't look at my don't question my other views on family dynamics.
Oh, buddy. Yeah, well, friendly neighbor, you're not like bigoted. I think that'd be a bit too much for this kind of anti-hero character. Yeah, just putting that out on the table.
No,
I don't want any of our listeners thinking that.
No, your friendly neighbor's not going to be like, a woman belongs in the kitchen, right? Now, viewers, he's not going to tell a woman she belongs in the kitchen. He just thinks that teenagers are disrespectful, children don't understand the severity of situations, and the word of adults are like the final. He's hip, he's cool, he understands the diversity of gender because come on, you really think he's a man?
There's one last thing amidst these protests that I want to get on the screen, because I mentioned at the start of this that you've been consistently avoiding your adversary this entire time, which is amusing, but
not on purpose.
Not on purpose. I think amidst this protest, in the very back, you spy a tall man. This is the same tall man that confronted Midas and Hallow outside of Palmer's little cabin in the woods. Like 7 foot tall and seemingly like a wind constantly following him. I think as you lock eyes, you understand immediately that this is the adversary.
Just kind of across the distance, a small sea of people.
Yeah, you two just like lock eyes with one another. Actually, would you know the quote-unquote name of the adversary? Do you think that's something Friendly Neighbor would know?
I think he would know, like how he's seeking the perfect suburbia.
And this person is seeking, like, a return to nature, basically.
Yeah.
This person is looking at the cycle of life and death. You're trying to keep it frozen, effectively. Is that a right read?
Yeah, I'd say that's sort of in the correct field.
So, you know that this is a figure much like you. This is an angel of his god of suburban blight. Or at least, that's what you know the god as. It's not a flattering name, They give their enemies unflattering names.
Yeah, I'm sure they call the lady of house something like bitch. That's the best I could do.
No, but the point is that this is the man in the woods. Something that every suburban father should warn their children about.
Don't go out at night. There's a man in the woods.
Do you do anything as you kind of like cross eyes?
It'd be kind of rude to start a scene. I mean, there's already such a ruckus happening right now.
Okay. So you're not really going to be doing much of anything?
Oh, I'll still look at him, and then I'll turn to Lamb.
Uh-huh.
And just pose a simple question.
I'm listening.
Do you know that man?
The man in the woods, I believe, is what I heard his name is. Yes, I know you two kind of have bad blood going on. I don't get in between the spattings of the divinity. I am simply a contractor of sorts.
I knew there was an agent near. I didn't know it was this close.
Well, presumably this construction should ward it off, yes?
One should always be sure.
I think that's about all that's here for your, like, downtime scene, unless you had, like, anything else that you wanted to do before the next hunt.
No.
Any other, like, leads to follow?
No, Neighbor's kind of a simple guy.
If that's gonna be it then we shall move on. Next, Sammy, Millie Bazaar.
Hi, OMG, hi. Sorry this took so long. I'm perpetually busy and tired.
It's okay. You know, for the audience, it's just going to be a couple seconds from the last scene.
They don't know. They don't know.
And they don't need to know how long apart these recording sessions have been. Anyways, so what has Millie sort of been doing in the aftermath of the, what did I call it? The feverish feasting hunts?
Millie's kind of been doing two things. She has mostly been, like, working on and practicing, like, carnival stuff, because, listen, she's stressed out right now. She's still kind of upset about the whole rock thing. She's understandably pretty stressed out about, Hallow chunking Midas and going to the dimension, you know.
Do you know that Hallow went to the dimension? I forget if that's, like, something you guys talked about.
I meant went to the dimension by went to the dimension I meant friendly neighbor.
Oh yeah, that did certainly happen, huh?
Not the worm dimension, the second dimension, the dimension after the dimension.
I think that's just called being a drawing on a paper. Da-da-da! Anyways. Sorry, we have a downtime to get to.
Understandably, you know, the rock, that with Hallow, the everything, Millie being comically thanatophobic for the kind of person that she is.
Comedy, is that what you call it?
You know, just like, I don't know, focus on something she knows, as well as, like, listen, she needs herself in, like, tip-top able to handle problems shape for whenever Hallow turns back up.
Mm-hmm.
So, she's on her peak of, like, practicing carnival stuff bullshit, and messing around with tomato soup, and also rehearsing whatever conversations this group is going to have sooner or later. She has, like, little sock puppets to practice, to rehearse these conversations with.
Oh my god, okay. I was gonna say that I have, like, two scenes that I sort of want to frame during your downtime. I kind of want to know what this sock puppet conversation is like, though. I want to hear your impression of Millie's impression of Hallow.
Isn't this great? So yeah,
we don't have to do this. We don't have to do this if you don't want.
No, I want to do this.
Okay.
Okay. So, Millie has been spending a lot of her time at, like, this, like, shitty little, like, corner store that they've got going on somewhere. Like, not the one that got blown up. That one's gone. But just, like...
Probably something off of Main Street, then, because, like, spoiler alert, Main Street is, there are a lot of construction workers there.
I imagine she rode her little fucking moped out to, like, some dinky-ass little corner store to, like, buy pop and mope. And mope in a way that only Millie Bazaar can, because moping is not something Millie does, but she's also being strange. Millie mopes very loudly.
Oh god.
So right now, she's, like, chilling out on, like, a bench outside the corner store. This would look really fucking insane if you just, like, walked past her. She's got, like a big fucking 2-liter of pop with her.
And is it just, like, on each hand is, like, a really shoddily made sock puppet of Hallow and then a sock puppet of Midas?
Yes! Exactly. Tomato soup is also here and is, using one of its paws for a friendly neighbor puppet.
Oh, friendly neighbor's a part of this conversation too.
If he needs to be. He's not as major, but in case they need him.
Fair enough. What I want to hear what you think this conversation's gonna be like.
Okay, oh my god, this is gonna be like my impression of my character's impression of my friend's impression of their character. This is gonna sound fucked up.
No, I'm loving this. This is hysterical. You're doing this now.
So this is going to look fucking insane to any, like, random people passing by. She's sitting on this bench, and she's making the puppets talk to each other, and right now, the Hallow one is going something like, "If you just let me go back and get one of the corpses, I wouldn't have to bite you. You know that I don't like doing it, and you're acting like I like doing it, and I don't, and you're the one who wouldn't let me go back and get a corpse." And then the like Midas one kind of like bonks her in the face and is like, and is lightly, but kind of like bonks her, like head bonks her, and is like, "You were gonna get seen by the police, and I already think that I killed people, and I didn't kill anyone. I made them not did, and I was trying to be helpful, and now look at this. How am I supposed to trust you?" And there's like a big like hole in the side of the sock.
Okay.
And Millie kind of like holds the puppets back out and is like, "Okay, freaking Rich coming for me, but you guys want to actually like have a conversation instead of yelling at each other?" And the Midas puppet goes to look at her and just goes, "No."
Yeah, that sounds like Theo. I've known Theo for a long time. We have been role-playing for a long time. And all of us, all of our group have been role-playing with each other for a long time. You can put your input into this. I can't think of a single situation in all of the years we've role-played together where a Theo character de-escalated a situation.
Yeah, no, literally.
I don't think that's in her power. Eventually, though, I think, oh, God, speaking of Theo isn't here. I'm not going to, like, play her character, but I think eventually Theo, because we talked about this before, Theo wants you to help put the man with the upside down face, Palmer Rye, not back together, but, right side up again.
Yeah, and Millie's cool with doing that. Honestly, doing something normal and familiar to her would be nice right about now.
Actually, it's probably someone else from, like, actually, you know who it is, because Midas is in the hospital right now.
As one might be.
You see the tall figure from the woods. I don't think you met him, but he's very tall, he's got long hair, there's kind of like, it's kind of that aesthetic of like leaves and twigs inside of it. And he comes to you alongside Palmer and just says, "I was told by Midas Gold that you were the one to go to fix him."
Millie looks up, and then the tall man can really visibly see the sock puppet on her hand that looks like Midas Gold, and she just kind of like blinks and puts the puppets down and is like, "Oh yeah, I can help you with that."
I think he's just gonna leave you two to it, but first, actually, you know what'd be funny? I think he says, "Actually, may I have that one for safekeeping?" And points to the sock puppet of Friendly Neighbor.
"Oh yeah, I can make like another one or some shit. Tomato soup, hand it over." The big plush dog like hands it over.
Just hands over this like sock puppet, and it's like, "It's very charming. You're quite the craftswoman."
I mean, shit. I'm a ringleader, but I gotta have other hobbies, right? Art's pretty fun.
I suppose that's true. I'm glad to see that this world hasn't broken your spirit for artistic expression.
She laughs. I don't think there's a lot of shit that could break my spirit, though. It's trying, but I haven't done it yet.
Well, I'll be off. I'll leave you to it. And this figure that I revealed in Neighbors Downtime, this is a figure named the Man in the Woods.
Okay.
Just kind of putters off, and now it is just you and Palmer. And I don't think this is a roll, honestly, if you want to just, like, fix his face.
Yeah,
think,
that's just something I can do. So.
What do you say to Palmer?
Okay, so Millie kind of walks up to him and is just, like, kind of, like, tells him to stand still and stuff while she does the thing. And she's basically just like, so what are you gonna do after this?
I'm probably going to go back to the commune, honestly. I like it there. I would like a normal face, though.
He sure as shit beats some of the stuff that goes on in a normal town? Question mark? She says question mark out loud.
It's always been a bit quirky, but I mean, it was a good life, I suppose, but you know, I like this new retirement of mine of sorts, you know?
It's nice to have somewhere to go, honestly. Sometimes you just don't start off in the place you belong in.
Quite. Kind of, well, first, what does fixing his face look like?
So, if you can imagine, like, taking, like, someone's, imagine, like a circle around all of your facial features, right?
Oh, like it's an RPG character creator.
Yeah, kind of like that. And imagine you, like, stretched that forward from the rest of the face, and then you like, made it, like, spin around, and then just, like, stick back into place like nothing happened. It kind of stings.
Palmer just kind of scrunches his face and kind of like pats at the edges a bit, but you know, he's whole again.
There you go. You never need help with anything, it's Millie Bizarre.
Millie Bizarre, is it? Thank you. Kind of looks down, sees the Midas puppet, and I think he just says, "Why do you run with that guy anyways? He's kind of an asshole."
Millie kind of shrugs. Honestly, our whole group just kind of fucking happened into each other one at a time. I mean, a lot of us knew each other one way or another, and it all just kind of worked out. I mean, shit, the guy's difficult, but he's smart as hell, and when he's not being a dumbass, he's actually pretty good at getting himself out of a situation most of the time. And I don't know. I always got the impression that he's been trying to be a better guy since he got off the air, but
I don't know about that one.
Shit, obviously, it's not that easy. I don't know. We've our group's just kind of worked out for this long. I mean,
well, if there's one thing that this experience has taught me, it's that you shouldn't think you're ever tied down to one certain life.
Oh no, for sure. I don't think I'm tied down to this shit. It's mostly something I do when I'm off season from the carnival, but I mean, it's a living.
Sorry, didn't mean to imply you should cut and run, just...
Nah, you can say, don't fucking apologize to me. You got your face turned upside down. I think you can say some mean shit about him if you want to.
I mean, he's a pompous jackass, and when he wanted to come get me, it seemed like he was only cared about his own reputation rather than, like, you know, if my body was okay.
Yeah, no, that fucking sounds like Midas. Believe me, we're in for a talk, but right now he's in the hospital, so...
Well, I should probably get going. I got a visit to the police station, and then it's back to the forest.
Well,
You should come visit sometime, though.
Hope shit goes good for you. She kind of reaches out for a handshake, and if he accepts it, she shakes his hand very vigorously.
Yeah, he'll accept it.
Forgot to take off the puppet, so the hollow puppet is shaking your hand.
That's adorable. He still shakes it before heading off. Hey, by the way, sidebar, I think it's really amusing that in that entire, like, talk, you never once mentioned, also, he's my uncle.
Yeah.
Like, that just didn't even register for Millie.
No, I thought about bringing it up, and then I chose not to. That was a choice.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. I think it's interesting from a character perspective that Millie wouldn't choose also he's my family as a reason for staying together. I think that's interesting.
She stays because they're buddies. That's her buddy. Even if he's kind of a fucking dick.
Well,
Theo, if you're listening, I love Midas.
I love Midas too. This is great. So there's probably a bit of a time skip between this scene and the next scene, maybe like a couple days.
Yeah.
You've only seen Hallow sporadically. Neighbor's been around, and Midas is still in the hospital.
Yeah.
What I think happens next is you hear a knock at your motel door.
Well, I answer my motel door.
This is presuming you're alone at the motel right now, by the way.
Yeah.
I think that's a reasonable framing, right?
Yeah, I'm hanging out. I had some Hotel Waffles trademark symbol that are always kind of shaped wonky because you made them in the press.
Oh, Maribel's pancakes are divine, trust me.
Oh, I know it.
No, who appears at your door when you open it up is one Vanna T. Harlow. And in lieu of coming up with it on the spot, can I just read what you put in our DMs, the little, like, paragraph?
Yeah.
This is Millie's boss and the real owner of the carnival, Vanna T. Harlow. Vannatea Harlow. A frumpy older man who Sammy can only describe as looking like the fucking Monopoly Man if the Monopoly Man had cartoon perpetually closed eyes. He's a very powerful illusionist himself and can do some insane things with his eyes when he does open them. Some say he can hold entire audiences captive, but, of course, as the Bedlam Carnival does, everyone goes home at the end. Vanity is getting on in years, so had to take a more hands-off overseeing role in the carnival, as opposed to an active performer. Millie was specially appointed by him. Out of all the people at the Bedlam Carnival had recruited over time, she's shown both amazing power and amazing dedication. She is the apple of his eye and may as well be her dad. He also kidnapped her, but it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
Millie doesn't worry about the past. He's an overall a very fussy, "Have you gotten in your vitamins today?" old man, who loves the macabre more than anyone but considers himself too old to be much more than a bean counter these days. Even so, he'll probably do that much till he drops dead, and then tell them to use his body in shows.
That is Vanna T. Harlow.
And I think he invites himself in and just says, Millie, 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 how have you been during the off-season?
Shit, man, how'd you come rolling up in this place?
Well, to tell you the truth, we're actually planning on setting up shop here soon.
Really? Should have called me about it.
Well, that's what I'm doing right now. I figure, why call you when I found out that you were staying in town? I mean, if you were halfway across the country, I would have called you, but...
Guess that's true. I've just been busy, sorry.
Well, I wouldn't worry too much about the circus itself. We have a lot more setting up, and then, there's always, like, the carnival itself. The circus only performs on certain nights. You know how it goes.
It's a whole crock of scheduling shit, I know. Probably the most annoying part of the year is right before we start.
Anyways, let's get down to business, shall we? Dear Millie Bizarre, like a clock on time, the circus always returns. Has it really been that long since the last season? No matter. What matters is that they seem to be setting up in town now, and that means you probably have a job to do. By the way, how did it go last time when you left? Roll plus charm. On a 10 plus, you left on good terms. Make an ask of your boss. He'll see to it that it gets done. No matter what. On a 7 to 9, the terms were okay, but you did leave in a hurry. Your boss will do an ask of you as above, but you'll have to do something for him first. On a 6 minus, it wasn't great terms. What happened? Your boss will ask you to do something terrible in order to make amends. Lots of love, your keeper.
I really like that we still do these rolls in the Dice World channels. Everyone else just kind of has to, look nervously.
It's really great seeing, one of you roll for, your downtime love letter, and then everyone starts reacting because they don't know what you were rolling for.
Yeah. Okay, big money, no whammies.
Well, that's a 7. I mean, in theory, even though it's just a 7, you can still use luck. But I mean, I don't know if this is the time.
I don't really feel the need.
On a 7 to 9, the terms were okay, but you left in a hurry. Your boss will do an ask of you as above, but you will have to do something for him first. So, I think what, Vanity says is, how are you doing? During this off-season, of course, is there anything I can do for you? And I would like to say, just kind of from an out-of-character perspective, don't feel limited by your ask here.
Alright.
This is probably going to roll over into, the next hunt. He's not going to do it immediately, but I'm giving you a chance to maybe make some big swings here, so...
Alright.
And you know that Vanity is a connected man, so...
Yeah, hold on. I gotta think with my big shiny brain.
Smooth as a river pebble.
Hey, dick.
It's okay, listeners. I've known Sammy for like 8-10 years now. 8-9
Listeners,
years now.
Flux said my brain was smooth as a river pebble. Listeners.
It's not like I met you just like 2 months ago. I'm allowed to bully you a little bit. Do you want to kind of brainstorm back and forth what your ask is going to be?
Maybe, yeah.
Well, do you have any like vague ideas of what it's going to be, whether it's like an action, getting information, etc., etc.?
Right now, I feel like Millie's going to want to do something to help the others and the drama that they're in right now, but I don't know what she would ask of Vanity for that. Maybe something related to, like...
Like maybe related to Hallow's curse?
I was about to say, maybe, like, information on Hallow's curse.
That's certainly within his power if you want to ask it of him.
I'm, like, scared. I'm just like, am I using this effectively enough?
I mean, Hallow's curse is a pretty big plot piece on the board in this game, so...
Pretty important thing that happened.
And, like, you know, no questions asked. If you want information about the curse, he'll get it for you. It would also just depend on you doing the ask of him first.
I think that makes the most sense, because right now, like, Millie really wants to help everyone and, like, make everyone stop fighting, and also not feel mildly terrified of Hallow right now, because she feels bad about it. She wants to help her. So, I think Millie says something like, you know about my buddies that I do the monster hunting stuff with, right? I've talked to you about them.
I do.
Hallow. How much have I told you about Hallow?
I seem to remember an incident where, Mr. Darkspell got, what was it, his spleen ripped out?
Appendix.
Appendix, right.
Sam Morgan, if you think about it. It's not.
How is that girl doing? Fuck, it really isn't.
It
How is that
really
girl doing anyways?
We've kind of been in some shit. She's not doing too hot right now. Listen, I didn't talk about it much because, like, it's her business, but Hallow's got this, like, fucked up, like, fake curse thing going on with her that makes her, like, try to, like, eat people about it sometimes. And, you know, listen, usually...
Oh, is that what that was?
Yes, that's what that was.
Okay.
We fixed it that night, but that is what that was. That's what that fucking was.
Well,
you can imagine that scared the shit out of me with 300 people watching. But anyways, point is, she's been having a shit fucking time of it. She bit Midas, and now we're all in a whole fucking thing. Because obviously Midas is pissed off at her, and she's freaking out. I don't even know what Friendly Neighbor's doing right now. It's this whole goddamn thing, and, like, I feel bad. I want to help, but there's only so much that chemomancy can do about, like, a curse like that. Is there any information you could find about, like, curses like that? Anything that can be done about them?
I can take a look. Absolutely, I can take a look, especially for even a former performer of the circus.
You're more well-read than anyone I fucking know. If anybody could find info on it, it'd be you.
I'll need some time, but no. Actually, I came here to talk business with you. You did leave in quite the hurry last time, so,
Yeah,
I was wondering if...
I'm still sorry about that.
I was wondering if you could do some work as well.
Yeah,
What's up? Before we begin. Well, performers are coming and going, but we're always looking for the next great talent, right?
Of course. I remember my first day.
I know there's an elementary in this town. If you happen to know of any children who are picking up any of the arts, why don't you just let me know, okay? Just keep an eye on them.
Alright, I haven't been by there, but I'll do my best to see what I can suss out without looking like a creeper.
Well, yeah, I suppose the optics of that aren't very great, but if it just so happens to come up, you let me know about a potential new scion for the circus, and I'll see what I can do about fixing Hallow.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on that for you. She kind of like claps her hand on his.
Thank you very much. We'll be at the edge of town. I'm sure you can't miss us.
Couldn't miss it if I tried. So good to see ya. There's been so much going on, you wouldn't believe it.
Yes, quite. It's the only reason that I'm asking you is because I know this town has quite the storied history.
Tell me about it.
Oh, one more thing before I go, right?
Yeah.
Be careful if you pay us a visit. I think old Itchy still holds a bit of a grudge.
Listen, he can hold all the fucking grudge he wants. I'm the reason he's not dead.
You can tell that to him yourself. And I think Vanity allows him out of the apartment now.
See you later, alligator.
So that is the deal. If you can find a small child with magical potential and tell him about it, he will put you on the path to curing Hallow. Don't worry, it could be worse. If you rolled a 6-, you'd be the one who had to do the snatch and grab.
Woohoo!
Luckily, your hands are going to be clean in all of this. Huh.
It's just the mental weight.
So, I think it's been a couple days since the incident right at the end of the Joint Eaters hunt. And you've been in the hospital on account of getting yourself a little bit munched on.
A little bit. Tiny bit.
I'm not going to make you go into, it for, a month, you know?
Yeah.
That would suck.
He didn't have, any organs actually removed. He just had, it's like if a large dog bit you.
Yeah. Well, for what it's worth, first and foremost, you can remove all of your harm. You know, you were in the hospital. They made sure to get everything.
They got it all.
Even the bird pecks.
I fucking forgot about
You forgot about the shrikes.
Yeah. Well, I forgot about Midas getting his ass beat by him.
You are currently getting discharged now, and I think past couple days, everyone's been very busy. And they might have popped in here and there, but while you're getting discharged, everyone's off doing their own things right now. It's just you.
I imagine they're doing, they wheel him out in the wheelchair and let him get up on his own once he's out there. He's got a metal cane for the time being, just because, that side of his body is significantly just a bit weaker for a little while.
I'm not going to make you, take -1 forwards or anything for it, but, that's fair. You're going to need, you're probably going to need help for a little bit.
Yeah.
But as you are leaving the hospital, as soon as you get, down the road a little bit, you see, not a big amount, but a number of paparazzi immediately, jumping out of, a side alleyway and getting in your face.
Oh,
There are cameras flashing, microphones are getting shoved in your face, and they are asking you about what your thoughts are about the recently reported death of Mac Fillins. Mac Fillins was the preceding host of America's favorite Show Me the Money. This is the host that was after your time.
Mac? Wait, he's dead?
According to the paparazzi, he apparently passed away due to heart disease while you were also in the hospital.
The fuck? He's only in his mid-20s.
What are you saying to the paparazzi? What's your reaction to this?
I have no idea about any of this. I just got out of the hospital. Give me a day or two. God damn.
And I think one of them pushes their way to the front and then shoves another microphone in your face, just kind of are you aware, Mr. Gold, that you were invited to his funeral in his last will?
Well, I don't even know him.
Is that a no then? Should we say that you are not going to be attending his funeral?
Wait, in the will? How the... What?
You were on the list of the people that he had invited in the event of his death to come to his funeral.
Huh. No statement at this time. Please, leave me alone. Kind of, he puts up a hand to the mic and shoves it back.
I think after a bit more badgering, they managed to finally fuck off. But yeah, the person who preceded you on Show Me the Money has apparently passed away.
Midas, I'm sure, has gone back to the the inn that they're staying at is.
Yeah, let me remind you, this is the person who, in the first hunt, you watched reruns of in order to feel burning white-hot envy.
Yeah, Midas has been in kind of a. He does not like this man. He has, in Midas's mind, taken everything from him.
I think as you're coming into like the main foyer of the bed and breakfast, Maribel Dearly, the proprietor of this place, looks at you and is like, "Oh dear, Midas Gold, are you all right? Do you want me to put on a spot of tea?"
That'd be nice, actually. Yeah, I'm not in great condition. I've been in the hospital.
Right. Maribel goes back and after 2 or 3 minutes, comes back with some Earl Grey for you. What's got you all in a tizzy, dear?
I've been invited to a funeral of a guy I barely know.
Oh dear. I can't imagine it'd be very easy for you, especially after, especially after how it ended last time.
Yeah, I don't really know if I'm in any condition to travel, but
Well, the funeral would probably be in, like, Grand Rapids.
I imagine Midas has probably gotten a letter or something
Mhm.
connecting to it as well. If he's been invited to it, I'm sure he's been given a more formal thing for it.
You got, like, an email?
Well, I imagine like the inn has his mail.
Oh, that too.
I don't know. There's going to be reporters there. I know that it's supposed to be some kind of private event, but there's always reporters in places like this. And if they can find me in a small town like this, they can find me in a large gathering with all sorts of people.
You said you didn't know this, fellow that passed away, did you?
I knew of him. I know that he's the guy that took things from me.
Took things from you? How
My
so?
show.
Well, dear, I don't think that was his doing.
If the studio had just waited out a little longer, the bad press would have blown away, and I would have been able to go right back to what we were doing, but they replaced me. And the smug son of a bitch, I don't get nothing from him. Okay?
At the very least, he did seem like he cared about you enough to invite you to his funeral. He must have known that he was dying for a while if he prepared at least a guest list.
It's like one last sucker punch from beyond the grave. Even in death, he can't leave that for me.
Drink your tea, dear. You can think about it in the morning.
Midas is going to take his tea up with him. He needs to go rest. I imagine like everybody else is out doing things. He's the one person staying in the motel for the day.
Mm-hmm. It's probably not too like late in the day. It's probably only like what, 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah, he takes his mail up. He's got the formal invitation labeled for Grand Rapids. He isn't really sure what he wants to do, but as he looks over the letter, he realizes that he is labeled in the will, not just for the funeral, but a will reading to be held after.
Yeah, that is what the paparazzi were saying earlier, that you were in the will.
And that piques his interest because Midas is perhaps, one may say, short on money.
I was gonna say, you don't care about this funeral until you found out you were gonna get shit.
So, despite, his bad shape, Midas does have to feed himself. If exploiting his own bad image for paparazzi and money is going to get him, held over for the next 6 months, that's, I guess, what he's got to do.
Yeah, because Neighbor and Hallow don't really bring in an income, and Millie's pretty decent from circus income, but that can't last forever.
They've been living in an inn, the four of them, for like
What is it, 2 weeks
probably
now?
I'd say a little more than that, honestly.
Maybe
I mean, with
3?
Midas, yeah, maybe 3. Because I mean, Midas has been in the hospital for a couple of days. I imagine that ate up some of it.
It's you, your niece, a dad, and a weird girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't really say you've got a great family structure there.
No, not particularly. But Midas is gonna take the trip up to Grand Rapids. I imagine maybe like I don't know where Selenus is during all of this. Maybe giving Midas very disapproving looks during all of this.
Selenus has been a little bit spacey after, well, effectively, Selenus got a lot of chances to feed last time. As you're going out of the town, you notice Main Street's kind of fucked. And it's a good thing that everyone was so like high strung and desperate during that time, or they remember that you did telekinesis shit and like, threw stands into windows and stuff.
Yeah. Had it not been for the newts, Midas probably would have been in deep shit, not just with local police, but maybe like the federal government.
Well, we're not bringing the federal government in yet. You guys fuck around enough and you will find out, though.
I feel as though Neighbor is going to push the feds in here faster than anybody else. I'm gonna be honest. The the fucking jail cell shit should have brought in at least one more investigator or something.
Gritston still wants to know where the hell he went. You guys kept a relatively low cover during last hunts.
Well, and we're gonna deal with that eventually.
And Marissa has not been a snitch.
Hey, that's good.
It is good. That's good on your guys' front.
So, yeah, I'm gonna take the drive to Grand Rapids. I don't know how far Grand Rapids is from Fringewater.
Maybe like an hour or two.
The Midas-mobile is getting the most amount of usage it has in probably months.
I mean, the mileage doesn't matter. The warranty on this thing ended decades ago.
It is insured for so much more than it's worth.
It's like $10,000. They think you're going to totally write it off 5 times a year. Which, hey, depending on the way this game goes.
The insurance company's just waiting for the car to get fucking totaled.
So at the funeral, it takes place in this, like one of those mega churches, you know? The ones that are already wired up for television.
Oh, God.
It's big. There's like burgundy red carpets.
Ooh,
Most of the people that you see here are other people from like showbiz, from the TV and the network. You know, people you definitely recognize, but, you know, you only really remember out of spite. Occasionally they give you side glances, but they're making an effort not to talk to you.
It's exactly like I remember.
I mean, do you want to talk to any of them?
Flux, am I going to speak to the real Jimmy Fallon?
Yeah, no, hold on. Let me just phone James up and get him on the Discord.
Oh, you know him by his full name. I see, James Fallon.
No.
Stephen Harvey.
It's this is a funeral. You can't make me laugh. We're doing a funeral scene.
Well, who am I supposed to talk to?
The point is that it's awkward and no one's really talking to you. It's an open casket funeral. If you wanted to go up to like see Mac, then you could. What did Mac used to look like?
He almost kind of looked like your everyday like guy next door. He had kind of an everyman charm to him.
Half curly brown hair.
Yeah, like in that sort of way.
The second Flux lookalike of this game.
Shorter than average, you know, maybe like a little, normally would have been a little flushed in the face, obviously not anymore, freckles. Although they would cover that kind of stuff up with makeup when he would be doing the show. Yeah. You know, I mean, he had sort of like, he felt like he could be like your next door neighbor. Not like an 80s heartthrob kind of way, but like, he seemed like he'd be like a good friend to anybody. Mm-hmm. Which makes it even weirder that Midas is such a dick weasel about it.
You resist the urge to punch him in the face in his own casket.
Yes, I am gripping tight.
It's probably not easy for you, like the procession and like the reading. For what it's worth, they don't call you up to make a speech.
Oh, well, that's wonderful.
Listen. I think they know that you'd probably have nothing positive to say anyways.
I think most people don't know why I'm here.
Oh, you think like there's some people like newer to the network who have never seen you?
I think it's more along the lines of like, oh fuck, who invited him?
Ah, okay, yeah.
Like people who know exactly who I am.
Oh, yeah. Even before the incident with your first encounter with Selenis and your subsequent breakdown, you weren't really a nice person off of camera, were you?
No, Midas had kind of a reputation of being kind of a crappy person, and in the sort of way that like he would use it to his own benefit on show and make jokes about it, and like there was almost a sort of anti-charisma to it in the same sort of way of like celebrities who get themselves into deep shit and then play it off and make jokes on talk shows about it and everybody laughs because that's just how the industry is.
After the funeral procession is done, people have said their piece. Many tears were shed, not by you though. His casket is closed and wheeled to the side, and the projector, or no, if it's like a mega church, they'd probably have enough money for like a full size like TV screen.
That's terrifying. The fucking Blade Runner fucking.
No. Mac shows up on the screen, not that close zoomed.
I imagine he's like sitting in a hospital gown or something, like
yeah.
at home during his last couple days.
And what this is, as he begins speaking, is his last will and testament. And he is joined by a lawyer, of course. And you sit there watching as he begins going over, well, how to divide his stuff, his house, his belongings. He was single, so it's not like he had a wife or kids to inherit it. So
He
a
doesn't
lot
really
of it is
have
kind of
like much of a next of kin other than maybe like his parents.
A lot of it's kind of slapdash, some of it's going to like networks executives he was nice to, some of it's going to like other hosts. Obviously some of it goes to his parents and his family.
Maybe a little bit off to like, I don't know, even to charity.
There's probably some going to charity too, yeah.
Yeah.
We had the same thought. And then right at the end, you hear Max say this.
Midas, I wanted to leave you for last. I know that we haven't really spoken all too much, but I wanted to tell you that your work on Show Me the Money was some of the most inspiring things to me growing up. It's entirely what got me to go into show business. I have been enamored with your work since I first saw you almost a decade and a half ago. In fact, it is to such a point where when I heard that you had been fired off of your show, when they came and offered it to me, I turned them down originally because I really could not see anybody else hosting. But I also knew that I really couldn't pass up an opportunity like that. I've been wanting to apologize for a long while. I've tried numerous times to try and get you on as a guest on the show, but network would never budge on it, unfortunately. What I leave to you is my royalties from the episodes that I'd hosted. It never really felt like it was my show. And I think by doing this, I'm giving it back to who it really belongs to. Consider it a bit of season finale.
How do you feel about that?
Midas's heart has dropped through his chest. He's kind of sitting there in stunned silence, as I am sure eyes turn to him.
Oh yeah, no, heads are totally turning to you.
Because I don't think anyone saw that coming.
Least of all you.
Midas's, like, perception and judgment is spinning. He's got, like, you can see wheels in his head are turning.
It's kind of hitting you all at once that this, like, rivalry with, the next host has been entirely one-sided.
It's been entirely in his head this entire time.
Oh, yeah. And now Mac is gone.
Yeah, and it's not like Midas can ever really make it right on his end.
Because there's totally been times, I'm sure, when, like... Because, they didn't just pull someone in. Mac has been, like, at the network for a while, and even as, like, this was happening in, like, the twilight weeks after your incident on the talk show, I think you knew that he was going to replace you, and you were probably a huge dickhead to him.
Of course. I mean, Midas was personalizing all of it.
And now you can't take that back.
No, I never can. I mean, Midas is sort of now shrinking into his chair. What's the play here? Do you dash out of the room as fast as you possibly can? Do you say something?
That's up to you. That's up to you.
Midas kind of shakily gets up out of his chair. He's still supporting himself with a metal cane. It's not like he can run. I imagine that was the last thing said on the video, so now as the screen goes dark...
And there's probably a couple lawyers also, like, to the side who have, like, some tables set up for people.
Lawyers and, like, other people that were in the will, like, not just fans of the show who had maybe dedicated themselves, but, like, actual people who were in the will having watched this. And Midas is kind of being looked at by all of them now. And he just sort of stands up and stares up at that screen. I mean, he doesn't... He almost wants to watch it again because he must have hallucinated that. I mean, there's no way that's real. Because if that is real and that did just happen, Midas is a terrible person.
It's pretty awkward the next like 45 minutes of people like shuffling around. They're still not really like talking to you.
I'm sure now even more people are trying to stay away, because I think a good amount of people are envious of Midas, that he's getting that money. They feel as though he doesn't deserve it.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
I imagine there's a hell of a lot of spite now being directed towards him.
One of the people at this funeral, even as an aside, like, gets the courage to chastise you and is like, "You're a terrible person, Midas Gold. That boy loved you. Do you know how you treated him before his... Ugh, you don't deserve that money. He's a lot nicer of a person than I would have been in his shoes."
I think Midas, like, can't even bring himself to do anything. He just sort of, like, clutches at his chest for a moment. I think he's in the throes of a panic attack. Not to try and make this person feel bad. I think it was going to happen no matter what.
Someone was gonna say something to you, yeah, but
I imagine
you're...
he's maybe not in the best condition I mean, he lost a lot of fucking blood recently. I imagine
Yeah,
that he's
you're
not
still
in the
healing from that.
he's not in the greatest condition, and he just sort of collapses to the ground.
Oh dear. I think there's like on-site medical staff who have come to like
I hope
carry
at a
you out maybe into the
funeral.
lobby. Yeah, especially at a place this big. So you're in the lobby now. The medical staff have made sure you're not having a heart attack. I think as you're getting up, look who it is again, but the paparazzi, but a little bit more subdued this time. And the paparazzi, one of them comes forward and puts his mic into like you're way too close to your personal space and asks you how you feel about inheriting that amount of money. Dear Midas, it's been a little while since you've been on the air in front of so many people. It's not like you imagined, but it's still a chance. This interview will probably be up on the internet and shared around in television centric circles within hours, so don't blow it. Roll plus cool.
Oh boy.
On a success, you managed to have a fantastic interview. What did you say? Regardless, your reputation is starting to be mended. On a mixed success, you choose 2. Your answers aren't seen as self-centered by the world. The town of Fringewater is pleased with the attention, and you leave the interview happy with yourself. On a miss, it was a complete disaster. What absolute blunder did you say, and what were the consequences? Lots of love, your keeper.
Oh my god!
Do you want to say what that is?
I rolled snake eyes.
Oh, Midas. You know, I think on both of our accounts, as we were planning what your like interlude was going to be,
Yeah.
I think it was wishful thinking on both of us that Midas Gold of all people was gonna get better.
I'm sorry, of all things I could have rolled snake eyes. Like,
I mean,
not even like a 5 or a 6, but a 2.
I mean, this counts as a roll if you want to use luck.
No, I'm not going to use luck, Flux, because this is way more interesting.
On a miss, it was a complete disaster. What absolute blunder did you say, and what were the consequences?
Midas is not doing well. I mean, his entire... It's almost as if the room itself is spiraling around him. He can barely keep himself together at this point, and I do not think that paparazzi are helping him. They're probably actively making everything worse for him. And unfortunately, for all of these funeral goers, and for poor Phil, who, just passed away, Midas is going to give the most self-conceited, non-apologetic interview he possibly can.
What do you say? I'm not gonna we're not gonna act out this entire interview, but like, do you want to give me a line from this interview?
I can still barely understand what the fuck he thought by bringing me here. I don't even know how to explain it. I mean,
It sounded like the boy looked up to you.
I don't understand what he's playing at. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I don't think he was playing at anything. This was his last will. This was the final thing he was doing before the disease took him.
But I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. Why would he left everything. He can't do that.
Does this mean that you're planning on giving away the royalties or moving the money to a charity organization, perhaps?
No. I never said that. I never said that. You're putting words in my mouth, sir. I need this, but why?
So, this is a disaster. This is terrible.
Yeah, unmitigated disaster.
What's your exit plan? How are you like ending this conversation? Is it like maybe like a hand into the camera, or what do you think?
No. See, Midas is never that like
Oh,
articulate.
Jesus.
I rolled 2 1s, Flux. Do you think that I am going to get a hand to the camera and I can just walk out of here like it's no big deal?
Hey, it's not rules as written that like lesser numbers mean a worse failure, but I mean, if you have an idea,
I think
fucking
lesser
go for
numbers
it.
mean funnier failure, Flux.
You've got a very specific idea. I know it. I can hear it in your voice. Just what do you got? What have you got for an exit plan?
One of those microphones goes a little bit too close to Midas's face. And
no.
You know, weeks of living on edge and stress and panic, his hunter instincts take control of him, and with a metal cane in his hand, he strikes upward at the
Oh god.
He just knocks the guy's block off. Oh!
And I think everyone's like turning their heads, like someone's running to like get him. You probably like bloodied his nose.
And in that motion,
it's time
Midas
to leave.
shoves through the crowd and runs as quickly as he can back into his car.
Oh god, yeah.
Fumbling his keys, opens the door, and you just hear the sound of the tires screeching as he peels out of there.
Oh. Back to Fringe water.
I imagine that Midas could make a claim of self-defense there, but it's not going to stop every single media outlet.
I don't think anyone's gonna press charges.
Yeah, but it's not going to stop every single media outlet who just got a recording of Midas assaulting a guy from just running with it. And any amount of money that he is made from the funeral is about to get funneled straight into paying this guy off for a little while.
All right, back to Fringe water. It's going to be a long, lonely drive back, well, home in quotation marks. What are the lasting consequences of this interview, do you think? Are like not even talking about like the next like 20 minutes. I mean like over the next few days or even like weeks.
I imagine Midas's breakdown is making news all over, you know, the TMZ circuit, the MTV circuit. I mean, that kind of area. I mean, Midas is not a major league celebrity where this kind of thing would... I mean, it's kind of what people expect from him. It is the first interview he has given since, you know...
I think a lot of people tuning in were like genuinely curious to see if like your mental health has recovered.
And were instantly disappointed to see.
It's gonna be a long drive back.
A completely dead, silent, empty kind of drive back, as Midas has essentially destroyed whatever amount of reputation he still had left.
In an essence, that was your second chance and you kind of cocked it. I think even despite all this, when you get back to the motel, Maribel just still gives you like a sympathetic look. She totally like knows. She probably was looking up information after you talked about it with her. She probably saw your post-panic attack breakdown.
Midas heads back up to the room and turns the TV off. He's not watching anything tonight.